Great feeling, of course, to win the first round of the 2014 Asian LMS Series Championship.
Welcome to Fuji International Speedway, centre stage for round 2 of the 2014 Asian LMS Series. Strap in for the next hour as we take a look back at last month's season starter in Inji, South Korea, and take you on a drive through the most exciting and important highlights of 3 hours of Fuji. Come with us as we meet the first female driver to ever race an Asian LMS Series. And as we get to know the Taiwanese team with 3 competing cars in the GT category, and also uncover the massive fan power of motorsport throughout Japan. So sit back, hold tight and join us for more Asian LMS Series action. Before we get into all the action from Fuji, let's take a quick look back at the first race in Korea. The 2014 Asian LMS Series Championship kicked off with a hot and dry race at Fuji Speedway in July. The defending champions in the LMP2 category, Oak Racing Team Total, qualified in pole position, with David Chang and Ho Pin Tung in their #1 Morgan Judd. But there was drama right at the start of the 3-hour race, as Eurasia Motorsports' Richard Bradley passed Chang on the very first lap and was able to build a lead of nearly a minute. But Chang stuck to his task, and after Bradley handed the #27 Orica Nissan over to Eurasia teammate Tak-sun Kim, Chang was able to retake the lead for Oak. Tung then took over on lap 60 and produced some very quick lap times, including the fastest of the day at 1 minute 25.148. He went all the way to the checkered flag to claim first place, while a crash late in the race from Bradley saw Eurasia unable to pick up any points. Meanwhile, Craft Bamboo Racing had qualified first in the brand new CN prototype class, but lead driver Kevin C struggled early on and was passed by some of the GT entries. On lap 28, the car suffered some technical issues and returned to the pits for a lengthy stoppage. Team owner Frank Yu then put in a steady stint before handing over to Matthias Besch, who recorded the category's fastest lap of the day. And although the car continued to have problems, Yu managed to bring it home to take first place in the CN class. The GT division was hotly contested all afternoon long between 3 cars from Team AAI Restrada. Yu Lam in the #90 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT3 was leading the GT category for the early part of the race, and his teammate Takamitsu Matsui was able to keep that lead. But in the final hour, German driver Marco Seefried took over in the #92 BMW Z4, and helped by some quick pit stops, he chased down Takamitsu to capture the lead near the end of the race and take the division win. The duo of David Chang and Ho Pin Tung may have won the opening race of the year for the Oak Racing Team Total, but team bosses weren't afraid to change a winning formula. They are joined in Fuji by one of the most intriguing names in the field, Keiko Hirara, a veteran Japanese driver who makes history here as the first female driver to compete in the Asian LMS Series. Let's find out more about her.
I'm very happy to compete in Asian LMS Series because always racing driver likes #1. I want to show the female driver can drive LMP car.
Keiko drove for us in WEC last year. I think it's great for this championship to have Keiko on board.
Yes, I had a lot of prejudice. When I started motorsports, a lot of people say you can't drive a racing car even you don't have a driving license. If I win the race, a lot of people say, oh, this is a special engine, but I'm used to be that, so now I'm strong.
Whenever she's in the car, she's just like one of us, and she's doing a very good job so far. She did a lot of prototype racing last year, also raced in the 24 Hour of Le Mans. Hopefully she'll be able to continue the good performance here in Fuji as well this weekend.
I changed the color from pink to blue. If they noticed, oh, female driver is pink helmet, and they blocked me, so it is not very good. Blue means safe color in Japan, so I changed blue.
She's okay. She's okay, to be honest. She did well today. She knows the track very well. She's always a little bit special, but at the end she's a driver. I think it's not necessary to take her different.
I look forward to drive this circuit because when I came to the circuit, I think 20 years ago, I thought I want to be a racing driver. And then now finally I can drive with LMP2 in here and in my country and home course. So I'm looking very forward to drive.
From the hills of Inji last time, out to the base of the great Mount Fuji, the Asian Le Mans Series takes in some spectacular tracks throughout the season. Fuji is a world-class Grade 1 circuit, 16 turns in total, and a shade over 4.5 kilometres in length. Let's take a closer look now, with the help of Eurasia Motorsports' Richard Bradley.
Hi, I'm Richard Bradley. I'm driving the number 27 Eurasia Motorsport LMP2, and this is the second stop of the season for the Asian Le Mans Series, Fuji Speedway. It's a very special circuit for me as I spent the last 3 years racing in Japan. Now come on board and take a look. Here we are for a lap of Fuji Speedway, approaching the end of the very long start-finish straight into the very tight turn 1. This is in second gear. At the starts it gets extremely tricky here as all the cars funnel in on the first lap very close to each other. We come out trying to get good exit for the straight into the second corner, which is ATR. This corner is very scary as it's very high speed. And we take it in fourth gear, pulling about 3 to 4G before entering the very long 100R corner. Now this is very difficult as the corner just seems to go on forever and ever, and you have to set yourself up for the very difficult braking zone into hairpin corner. We go down to second gear here and we focus purely on the exit as we have a 900 meter straight coming up after this as we go down to the tightest part of the circuit, the infamous Sector 3. This is known as one of the most difficult parts of any circuit in the world. And we come down to the end of the straight into the extremely bumpy braking zone for the chicane. We go down to first gear. We hit the apex curb on the first bit before stabbing the throttle a little bit, hit the curb on the second bit, try not to get wheel spin out of the third bit before setting ourselves up for turn 13. We then go through this in second, maybe third gear in qualifying if you're on a pushing lap, trying not to get sucked out on the exit, up to Prius corner, down to second gear, and trying to get the best line to get the best possible exit and set yourself up for the very important last corner. I make a quick traction control adjustment on the steering wheel here, which you'll see to get the best exit possible for the extremely long 1.6 kilometer home straight. Thanks for joining me on board for a lap of Fuji Speedway, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome to Asian Le Mans. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Fuji Speedway, where the second round of the Asian Le Mans Series is about to take place. Lining up in pole position is Eurasia Motorsports, and right next to them is the Oak Racing team. We can expect a really tough battle between these two for the next 3 hours. Also on the grid are multiple entries from Team AAI, the Emperor Racing team, and rounding up the back of the grid is Team Avalon Formula. And you can expect these cars to be battling out for the next 3 hours to see who can get to the top step of the podium first. There's always excitement at the start of any race, but the 3 hours of Fiji got off to a cracker, with pole sitter Richard Bradley stalling his car on the grid prior to the warm-up lap. He was relegated to the pits, leaving Keiko Ihara unchallenged to put Oak in prime position. That moved Yu Lam in the number 90 SLS AMG GT3 up into second place. But right behind him, Samson Chan in the number 77 Craft Bamboo Ligier was having a nightmare. Promoted to third after Bradley's mishap, the Hong Kong driver was overtaken by the entire field at the end of the first lap. But with the lightning-quick Matthias Betsch to come, the team was still in good shape. The shuffling of position continued throughout the first few laps. Right behind Yu Lam in second came his AAI teammate and boss, Jun San Chen in the number 91 BMW Z4. But Chen went past him into second on lap 3 and slowly but surely opened up a gap. Meanwhile, the third Team AAI car wasn't faring too well, with number 92 dropping down a place on the second lap and falling behind his rivals. But Italian Giorgio Sanna in the Emperor Racing Lamborghini Gallardo was proving that there was little difference between the GT and GT AM categories, jumping up 3 places at the start. With open road in front of her, Ihara was opening up a gap at the front. Meanwhile, the Craft Bamboo outfit was still very much in touch with the field in the early stages of the race, despite Chan's disappointing first lap, and the car seemed to have overcome the difficulties it experienced in Inje. But the CN division had extra competition in Fuji, thanks to the addition of the Team Avalon Formula, with Singaporean Dennis Lian driving the opening stint. Lian was lapping in the 1 minute 46 range and was his team's best driver of the day. So, as the order settled down, Ihara and Oak led from the 2 Team AAI cars, number 90 and number 91. Then came the Lamborghini in fourth. Let's take a quick look back at what happened to Richard Bradley and Eurasia at the start. As the cars were about to begin their warm-up lap, Bradley's car stalled and he was pushed to the pit lane, where the rule states that he has to wait until the last car has completed a full lap of racing before he could rejoin the race. After being held for a further 30 seconds, Bradley's disastrous start continued as he was given a drive-through penalty for receiving outside assistance. When he finally joined the race, he was close to 2 laps down on the field. His first task was to catch up with the backmarkers to be within 1 lap of the field. He did that with ease and then set about trying to overtake them for real. Despite still being in last position 20 minutes into the race, he was, incredibly, up into second place just over 10 minutes later, having made his way through the field.
Car wouldn't start, so obviously it's pushed to the pit lane, but in this series you have to wait a whole lap before you can restart, so it's a huge penalty.
In addition to winning the LMP2 category, the other way to gain entry into next year's Le Mans 24-hour race is to win the GT, or Grand Touring category. Seen as an entry point for many teams into endurance racing, GT race cars are close to production models, adding that extra connection between the professionals on the track and the fans in the stand.
The GT category offers the first opportunity for many teams to get involved in endurance racing. For us, it's an important link to the 24-hour race of Le Mans, where it's a core category. So we offer the winning GT teams in the Asian Le Mans Series 2 places at the 2015 24 Hours of Le Mans.
For the ACO, the best GT category is called LMGT-E because this is the category managed by the ACO. More and more GT cars running on a normal road, and it's a good promotion to use all the car running on a normal road and then improve in a racing car, okay? As a GT car.
I more prefer to drive the GT car because that is very close to my daily use car, you know. But the LMP2 will be kind like similar like Formula car.
チームの方針なんですけど、ここは富士の
Fuji Speedway has a
サー
long
キットス
stride.
トレートが長いんで、ストレートスピードが優秀な GTR をチームが選択しました。
I think the GT category, with the association with manufacturers and the opportunity to be a first step into endurance racing, I think is very popular in a market like Asia, which is a still developing market. So effectively what we do with the GT and prototype balance is give an opportunity for all levels of motor racing, both amateur and professional, to get involved in our series.
Well, back to the action here, the 3 hours race of Fuji, and we've got our new entry team coming into the pit lane. That is car number 11, the Emperor Racing team. Now, this team is not only new to the Asian Le Mans series, they're also new to endurance racing. But as you can see here, the pit crew is doing a fine job, albeit a few difficulties along the way. They are learning the hard way that endurance racing isn't as simple as it looks on TV. But the pit crew, they're doing well to recover, service the car and get it out on track, because in endurance racing it's all about continuing the race and lapping up as many laps as possible before the checkered flag. It's a bit shaky, that pit stop, I have to say, but the crew members have to be given credit. This is their first time in endurance racing, and minimal amount of crew members working on that car. As the drivers change position, the car fires up and heads back on track for another lap around Fuji.
First time at the Asian Le Mans series, first time doing endurance race. How was that? How was the first pit stop?
The first pit stop was quite good. We have some trouble after the first pit stop with the windscreen, but now it's going better.
Eurasia Motorsports' Richard Bradley in the number 27 car really had the bit between his teeth in his quest to make up for lost ground, and was lapping as quickly as 1 minute 35 seconds, several seconds faster than anyone else out on track. After passing the Craft Bamboo number 77, he had race leader Keiko Ihara in his sights and blew past her with ease, though he was still a lap down after his troubles in the start. But his Oreca Nissan was in top form and Bradley didn't let up, tearing round the circuit and passing car after car. His opening stint lasted 28 laps, and as they have done in the first race of the season, the team planned to use their quickest driver twice, with Bradley due to complete the final stint as well. And if Bradley keeps driving as well as he does here, there's a good chance that he might be able to challenge for the win. Seen here chasing from the back of the number 90 car, Keiko Ihara might have been making her Asia Le Mans Series debut, but she has also extensive experience in endurance racing, including the 24-hour Dubai endurance race and the big one at Le Mans in France. She also is meticulous with her preparation, spending 2 hours to walk the track before every race, and poring over race data with mechanics and engineers for hours. Whatever the reason, it certainly seemed to be working in Fuji, as she maintained a solid lead at the front and continued to overtake other competitors. But with approximately 1/4 of the race now run, things took a dramatic turn. With race leader Ihara still well over a minute in front and driving well on home soil in Fuji, she suddenly lost control of her car and plowed into the tyre wall on lap 24, sustaining considerable damage. The car was deemed no danger to the rest of the race, so the yellow flag stayed hidden. But it was a solid impact, and as you can see, Ihara bracing for the crash once she knew it was unavoidable. To her credit though, Ihara managed to reverse back out from the wall and re-enter the race. But watch the front left corner of the car, and as you can clearly see, some parts are damaged and bouncing around. And even more significantly, as the Japanese limped back to the pits, Richard Bradley and Eurasia Motorsports completed a stunning turnaround, with the blue number 27 LMP2 car going into the lead for the first time. But as luck would have it, as soon as Richard Bradley took the lead, he had to come into the pit lane and serve a drive-through penalty. This was for receiving assistance at the start of the race. There was some discussion between the management and the delegates, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, the team had to accept the penalty and get on with the job of racing. This was, of course, a 3 hours of race, and there was plenty more action to come. Now, with Ihara and Oak falling off the pace, Team AAI now held 2 of the podium positions behind Eurasia in first. Ihara finally made it back to the pits after a lengthy delay, but the hard work was just beginning. The entire front of the car had sustained some damage, but the left-hand side was the worst hit. With Ihara staying in the car, it was less of a pit stop than a full servicing as the crew got to work, changing a full set of tires as well as carrying out significant repairs to the car. They did it about as quickly as could be expected, but with so much work to do, Oak slipped down into last place, and Ihara went out for a further 7 laps, albeit at slightly reduced speeds, before more tweaks were made when David Cheng took over the driver's seat. Now I have to say, Ihara did a fantastic job of getting this car back to the pit lane so the mechanics could actually work on the car. This ensures that Oak Racing can still continue the race and the car can make it to the checkered flag.
We don't know exactly what happened. It's a small mistake, driver mistake, I would say. Well, it happened sometime. I think the team did a good job to repair the car, and yeah, the race is not finished, so we will push until the end.
It seems to be a gearbox problem, or so gearbox lights come on. What is something you're going to bring the car in for, or not?
No, not at all. No, Keiko tried to change something when she touched the wall, but everything is fine with the car.
And back to the action on track, and there were plenty of battles in the midfield as the pack tried to gain position on each other. But not to worry, the weather was still good at Fuji. This was just a case of a little bug getting in the way of our camera. He was one unfortunate victim of endurance racing. Meanwhile, a classic dogfight was ensuing between the 2 CN prototype cars of Team Avalon Formula and Craft Bamboo Racing, even though the green car was a full 2 laps down on its division rivals. But Kevin C, having taken over from Samson Chan in the hot seat, pulled this classic slipstream move down the straight to slightly ease the deficit between the 2 cars. He easily lined up Dennis Lian, who had yet to hand over to William Look. Meanwhile, as we approached the end of the first hour of this 3-hour endurance race, the number car 1 of Oak Racing was making its way through the field, desperate to make up ground.
While motor racing is still in its infant stages in some parts of Asia, that's definitely not the case in Japan, and especially in Fuji. Built in the early 1960s, the track here hosted a Formula One Grand Prix as early as 1976. And the unique layout and stunning location has been drawing fans and racers alike ever since. Let's find out more.
Fuji Speedway was built in 1965, started business in 1966. The history has about 50 years. Super GT and Super Formula, Super Endurance race.
Japan is obviously one of those tier 1 markets, traditionally one of the biggest economies of the world. Fuji in terms of heritage in Asia, but also operational and managerial excellence. It's probably the #1 track that we go to in our series.
40 years ago, many Japanese teams and many Japanese manufacturers participated in Le Mans 24 hours race.
And such, when you move on to endurance racing, their understanding of the 24-hour race, the WEC, and obviously us as Asian Le Mans Series is much greater. Their depth of knowledge, the fan base, I think is really quite deep here, to be honest. From my childhood growing up, I have images of watching Fuji late at night, watching James Hunt win the Formula One race here in the 1970s. To actually be here and running a race here is a little bit like a childhood dream come true. So for me, it's very exciting. The interesting thing of Fuji, it basically has a bit of everything, the track. I mean, it has, I think, the longest straight in Asia, so it really can give those cars with that extra power and straight line speed, you know, a real chance to let off steam.
All Japanese motorsports fan knows the Le Mans 24 hours race. The motorsports fan can enjoy the race in each place to our course.
I think that's why, you know, teams and drivers, when you do a schedule, they look for Fuji first, because not only is it an iconic circuit in its own right, but from a driving and sporting perspective, it is a very exciting circuit to come and drive at.
Welcome back, and let's catch up with Richard Bradley after his first stint in the car.
I think we had an electronics issue. Basically, the battery wouldn't charge for whatever reason on the formation on the way to the grid, and that meant that the battery didn't have enough power to start the engine, and so I needed an external battery. When we reset the car completely, the alternator started working again. So I guess it's just a typical electronics thing. But once it was working, you saw it was fantastic. The lap time was really quick, and you know, I caught an unlapped Keiko, and then thankfully she hit the wall, and we're back in the game.
Anyone who thinks nothing happens in endurance racing should watch this section of action, as Eurasia's Chinese driver Pu Junjin, driving in a LMP2 car just for the second time and still getting to grips with the car, had 3 cars in his sights as he blasted around Fuji International Speedway. First up, he sees Akihiko Nakaya in the Emperor Racing Lamborghini Gallardo and lapped the number 11 car for the 3rd time. Next, he turns his attention to Kevin C and the Craft Bamboo Racing Ligia before easing past for the 2nd time. Then he had the number 91 Team AAI BMW of Carlo Van Dam up ahead, who had yet to be lapped and was putting up quite a fight. Van Dam did finally succumb a few moments later, meaning Eurasia had lapped everybody in the field at least once at this point. But it was quite a stretch of racing. Let's enjoy the sounds of the LMP2 machine around the Fuji Speedway. David Cheng, shown here from the back of the number 90 AMG GT3 car, is a veteran of the Oak Racing Team Total in the Asian Le Mans Series. Not to mention, the reigning Drivers' Champion and winner of the past 3 races dating back to last season. When he got in the car, he faced almost exactly the same challenge as Bradley had done earlier in the race. How to make the most of his more powerful car to force his way back through the field and get back in contention for the lead. But he moved up 2 places within the first 8 laps and was, on the whole, lapping slightly quicker than Pu Junjin in the other LMP1 car. So he was making progress even though he remained in 4th, 2 laps down on the leader. A small moment there for the Eurasia team as the car leaves the track, but as the race approached the halfway stage, Eurasia was in good shape out in front, with the number 91 and number 90 Team AAI cars battling for 2nd. Oak was next in 4th, ahead of the 3rd Team AAI car, then came Avalon, Craft Racing and Emperor. Team Taiwan's AAI was having an outstanding race, with 3 GT cars in 2nd, 3rd and 5th. The number 90 car here had briefly been in 2nd at the start of the race, but had settled into 3rd by the midpoint of the race, with Takeshi Tsuchiya in control for the middle stint. Just a few seconds further out the track, in 2nd, was Carlo Van Dam in the number 91 car. but Tsuchiya was creeping up slowly but surely, and this inter-team battle wasn't over by a long shot. Meanwhile, Team Avalon Formula was doing well in its Asian Le Mans Series debut, with Hong Kong driver William Lock logging the middle stint for the team in 6th overall but leading the CN division. The other car in the class was Craft Bamboo Racing's Ligier, just one place behind in the field, but lagging by some 20 or 25 seconds at this point. Carlo Van Dam was making good progress down Fuji's long straight, cruising past Akihiro Nakaya in the Lamborghini. The Dutchman is ranked as a gold-level driver in the Asian Le Mans classification. Craft Bamboo had the only platinum driver in Frenchman Matthias Betsch, who was continuing to double up as a mentor and coach to his teammates. One of them, Kevin C, is shown here chasing the Lamborghini, but the Gallardo appeared to have the better straight line speed and held off C, even though it was a lap down. Arguably, the battle of the entire race was right here between the number 90 car, fractionally ahead of the number 91. It was the same order as in Inje last time out, though this time they were both ahead of their Team AAI stablemate number 92, which had won the three-car battle in Korea. Behind them, Kevin C was still pushing hard behind Nakaya in the Lamborghini. But Nakaya was doing a brilliant job in maintaining track position, and C was unable to find a way through, despite being no more than 2 seconds apart for a full 15 laps. Nakaya was, in fact, a full lap down on C. C eventually runs out of time trying to get past the Lamborghini and comes into the pit stop for a full service and, of course, a driver change. Now you'll notice a very unique thing about to happen. They not only change drivers, but also the seats that go along with the drivers. Each seat is molded to the body of the driver because they feel every bump and vibration around the Fuji Speedway. Let's catch up with Kevin C after his stint in the car.
Fortunately, this is Asian Le Mans. We have CNs mixing up with the GT cars. The GT cars are a lot faster in the straight, but then the CN cars is a lot faster especially in the fast corners. But I had a good dice with the Lamborghini for I think a good 15 laps or so. But I could have done a better pace, but then that's racing. I couldn't catch him, couldn't pass him. The car's brilliant. Everything's working fine. As the car got lighter on the fuel load, it's really working very well. But tires starting to go by the end of my stint, but overall the car is very good.
Meanwhile, back out on track, there was a tight battle between Van Dam and Tsuchiya, who both stayed out a little longer than some of the other middle stint drivers. But they were still very close to each other when they finally did come in. And the battle continues all over the track, with Marco Siegfried in the number 92 Nissan GTR trying to hunt down Nakaya in the Lamborghini. He also had to worry about Kevin C in the Craft Bamboo Ligier, who was coming up fast behind him. So Eurasia still in the lead, with AAI filling up 3 of the top 5 spots, and Oak in 4th. Then came the CN prototypes, and even though the Lamborghini trailed at this stage, it was still very much in the mix.
Asian LMS series.
Marathon races can sometimes be a bit of a slow burner, but this one was action-packed all the way through. With little over an hour and a quarter remaining, everything was still very much up for grabs. Craft Bamboo was chasing the Lamborghini on the track, but Within his own class, he was having a fierce battle with fellow CN prototype team Avalon, with the category lead switching 5 times throughout the race. Meanwhile, lots more was to come in both the GT division as well as the LMP2 class, with Oak hunting down race leaders Eurasia. Team Avalon Formula's 3 drivers were Dennis Lian, William Locke and James Mitchell, and all 3 contributed to their Asian Le Mans Series debut with roughly equal lap times throughout the 3 hours. Though Dennis Lian did finish his stint with a superb stretch of laps, including a team's best of 1 minute 44.488 seconds shortly before he came into the pits. It was great to see more competition in the series' newest category, and the Wolf GB08 seemed to take to endurance racing like a duck to water. Here's Dennis talking about some of the battles out on track.
The car is pretty good. It's running very consistently. The only problem is out there on the track with the Cup cars, the Lamborghinis on this circuit. We're a lot faster than them in the corners, but on this straight here, they're so fast. So even though we overtake them, they come and overtake us. So we're about on the same bracket lap times. And I think it'll make for some pretty good TV viewage because the cars were just like ding-donging back and forth. But it was a good race. It was a really good race.
Well, Dennis is absolutely right. It has made for some riveting TV, and this battle between 90 and 91 was delivering the goods time and time again. At this point in the race, Carlo Van Dam was still inches ahead of Takeshi Tsuchiya, and this battle continued to rage. But each time Tsuchiya looked to have got past him, Van Dam shut the door, double impact style. Now this is the part of the circuit where the corner goes on for a very long time, and it is important for the drivers to hold the correct line to ensure that they get a good exit speed. You can see some dirt sprayed on the windshield of the SLS here. Pretty sure that's not deliberate, but it was yet another obstacle for these drivers to overcome while racing at top speed. These two were neck and neck for the entirety of their 30-lap stint. Meanwhile, back at the front, Eurasia ran into more trouble. The car's speed limiter had been knocked off during the previous driver change, and without it, Harton was caught speeding in the pit lane, which drew the team a 40-second stop-go penalty. Elsewhere, Tsuchiya and Van Dam were still going at it. Tsuchiya finally found a way through Van Dam's defense on lap 54 to go up into P2 overall and take the GT category lead. Unsurprisingly, there was still plenty more to come from these two. And it's good to see just how close this battle is. The cars are barely separated after so many laps out of track. For the moment, the Mercedes just manages to stay ahead as the team watches on. It's going to be a nail-biting finish to see which of these cars and drivers can actually get to the finish line first. Ho Ping Tung was a new race leader, with Oak and Eurasia now having swapped positions 3 times. And the other cars were also still moving positions constantly. Now this is exactly what Dennis Lian was talking about just moments ago, with the Lamborghini pulling away on the long straights, even though some of the other cars had better cornering. It really does make for fascinating racing when all these different cars and categories are pitted against one another in the very same race. As the race approached the 2-hour mark, the number 92 car came in for a final driver change, with German Marco Siegfried handing over to local boy Ryohei Sakaguchi. Siegfried had made solid progress, moving up 2 places over the course of his stint. Here he is talking about the differences between the 3 Team AAI cars, one SLS AMG, one BMW Z4, and the one he's driving, a Nissan GTR.
When I compare the BMW now, I mean, Inche has another characteristic of the track, but the car is a little more powerful. But aero-wise, and in the, especially sector 3 here, is more a BMW sector, and sector 1 and 2 is more like SLS or GTR. So at the end, as you can see, it's still quite tight. There's advantage and disadvantage for both cars, so you have to get used to it.
Great insight by Marco Siegfried. The action continues shortly. Welcome back, and with the race entering its final section, the stakes were raised as the shake-up for positions intensified. With the two LMP2 cars occupying the top two spots, the number 90 and number 91 cars were still battling ferociously for third place, but more importantly, for the GT division lead. The two cars had pitted for their final time just one lap apart, with Tsuchiya handing over the SLS AMG GT3 to Takamitsu Matsui before Carlo Van Dam was relieved by Tatsuya Tanigawa. Meanwhile, veteran driver Ho Ping Tung, who along with David Cheng was also on a 3-race winning streak for Oak, was coming up behind the pair of Team AAI cars and was able to pass them both seamlessly. And he was consistently lapping in the 1 minute 36 range, including the team's best of 1 minute 36.137 on lap 84. Let's ride now on board with car number 90, the Mercedes SLS AMG GT3. With half an hour to go, Tung was more than 3 minutes ahead, with Hartong's speeding penalty having seemingly ended competition between the LMP2 cars. Meanwhile, the Emperor Racing team were doing a very respectable job in their Asian Le Mans Series debut. We ride on board with Team Avalon Formula down this start-finish straight here in Fuji, as the Eurasia car with so much more top speed goes blasting past. Tung was continuing to look solid at the front, reveling in the role of closing out the victory. And he wasn't letting up either. As if to emphasize the point, he actually lapped the second place Eurasia car for a second time. But as Oak showed in last year's series, it's very possible to bounce back in the second half of the season, and the numerous lead changes between the LMP2 cars, both in Japan and in Korea, bode well for more exciting racing between the two for the remainder of the season. As we saw earlier in the race, the different strengths between the cars were never more evident than when the Lamborghini was battling with Craft Bamboo's Ligier, and this was another prime example. Matthias Betsch was all over the back of Max Weiser in the Lamborghini during the tricky parts of the track. But on the straights, the Lamborghini would pull well clear with some stunning straight-line speed generated from its powerful engine. It's not a bad effort from the Emperor Racing team. They were late joining the grid here in Fuji, but nonetheless they have put on a very strong show. And it just basically goes to show the gaining popularity and strength of the Asian Le Mans Series, attracting more manufacturers onto the grid that is constantly growing as the season progresses. Now the Lamborghini had done a very good job trying to keep the Craft car behind him, but come the corners, the aerodynamic package of the CN category is way more superior than the GT-AM package, and the Craft Bamboo car is able to pass the Lamborghini and has clear track ahead of him. With the categories themselves settling down, the inter-class competition took center stage. While number 90 and 91 were locked in a battle, as they had been throughout the race, they also had to negotiate the other cars on the track. With the 21 car of Avalon this time providing the challenge, the GT cars were proving conclusively that they are a strong group in this Asian Le Mans Series. Meanwhile, Richard Bradley had taken over for Eurasia for the final 35 minutes to give it a quick blast, and he was just over a lap down at the finish after putting in a stunning stint. The fact that the best lap of the day and the quickest overall of the race came on lap 93 shows that he was pushing right to the very end. After an incredible battle in the GT division, which seemed set to go right down to the checkered flag, it was a real shame to see the number 90 SLS AMG suffer some technical issues on lap 84, and Matsui was forced to pull the car over, ending his and his team's race prematurely. That meant that the number 91 car retook the lead and went on unchallenged to claim first place in the GT class. Kevin C, meanwhile, had kept his team in the lead in the CN class during the middle stint of the race. And once he handed over to star driver Matthias Betsch on lap 54, the result was never in doubt. In fact, towards the end of the race, when the team's data indicated a problem with the car, they had the luxury of bringing the car into the pit to examine it instead of risking being stranded out on track.
Yeah, we think we've just had an oil pressure sensor fail, so it showed that there was a problem with the oil pressure, but we don't think it's the engine. We think it's just a sensor failing. So just be totally safe, since we've got a lot of laps at hand. We came in, had a quick look at the engine, everything looks okay, so we sent it out again.
And with that, Matthias Betsch headed back out on track, still leading the CN class. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack is Ho Ping Tung in Oak Racing, coming round on his final lap as the mechanics really tired after 3 hours of racing. It has been a while, but at the end, Oak Racing make it 2 wins out of 2 races this season in the Asian Le Mans Series. And Eurasia Racing come home to take 2nd place. If not for that 40-second penalty, they could have won this race. So here's confirmation of the results. Oak Racing Team Total take the win, Eurasia Motorsports are 2nd, and in 3rd place Team AAI take the GT category win. In the CN category, Craft Bamboo Racing take the win, while the Emperor Racing team are victorious in the GTAM category. In the Team Series ranking, leading the LMP2 category is Oak Racing Team Total, while Craft Bamboo Racing lead the CN category with 52 points. In the GT category, it is car number 92, Team AAI, who lead the scoreboard, and in the GTAM category, the Emperor Racing team has 26 points.
It was great, of course, to win. It's a very hectic race, I have to say. First, the problems for Eurasia, and then something happened with Keiko in the car. We still have to investigate what happened, but caused her to have a contact. A lot of damage on the car, but the team, I have to say, amazing pit stop. The way that they repaired the car in like unbelievable time. After that, we had to change our strategy a bit. So basically, we had to triple stint our tires, meaning that I had to really manage it until the end. David started with the set, and I had to do 2 stints on the same set. So it wasn't easy, but you know, just still able to do good pace, and very happy that, you know, I think it shows endurance racing. Whatever happens, you never give up.
Yeah, it felt good for the team, you know. It was not a very trouble-free race, but I think for everyone was the same. Everyone had a little bit of problem, but at the end we win, so it's the most important. It was a bit scary at the very last lap. We had a problem with the oil pressure, but actually I think it was just a sensor problem, but we still pit in and check to be safe. Yeah, it's good. 2 race, 2 pole, 2 win. We cannot do much better. Now we have to try to compete and make the best race, you know, even try to go with the battle with GT. Here is a bit hard with the long straight, but yeah, I hope we will have more competitors in CL, because it's a very good class, and I think the cost compared to the performance is just unbeatable. So yeah, join us. We have some fun in Asia.
Yes, we knew that after qualifying we had quite a big task to fight against the number 90 SOS. But during the race, I think both my teammates did an excellent job. The car worked fine, and I think until lap 75 we were in an unbelievable close battle with the SOS. Unfortunately, they break down, but I think we didn't make any mistake, and we deserved the win.
After P-in, our team was we don't change the tire, so we are a little bit worried about the tire condition when change it to second driver. But he did a very great job, and I think also we have a very good service team, and our pit stop is very, very wonderful. So thank to our teammate. Yeah.
Well, after another amazing race at this historic Fuji International Speedway, the season is set for another 3 races in China, Thailand and Malaysia. The series continues to grow its global TV audience, and the appeal of the Le Mans endurance racing opens the opportunity to teams and drivers of various levels of experience. Importantly, the attraction to teams is the ability to gain valuable know-how and exposure that can lead to entry to the coveted 24 hours of Le Mans. We look forward to welcoming you back to the next round in Shanghai. See you then.